r/ask Reddit. How do you socialize at a party where you only know the host and you're not too social? One time when this happened to me, I just found a mid-sized group of people having a conversation about general stuff and kind of hung out at the edges listening. Like, the group was big enough and they weren't talking about in-group stuff, so that me just kind of sidling up wasn't distracting. I waited until the conversation reached a point where I had something meaningful to add to the conversation, and I spoke up. Then I was in, and things just kind of continued from there with me speaking more. I didn't just barge in and hijack the conversation. I was listening long enough to get a feel for the conversation and knew what had been under discussion, while also just being present so that I wasn't automatically an outsider one-sided. People had time to see me and that I was part of the group, even if just a spectator at first. I couldn't tell you any of their names, but I remember having a good time hanging out with them. Get there a little early when people are just starting to show up and the host isn't super busy yet. If there's just a small group talking with the host, it would seem natural for the host to introduce you to them. Alternatively, when you get there and greet said host, there's no shame in saying I don't know anyone else here. Will you introduce me to someone? Walk up to someone that is not busy or in a deep conversation. Introduce yourself, ask them their name and how they know the host. Then say something nice about how you know the host. Then ask them what is keeping them busy lately. Usually an interesting conversation follows. If not, just say nice meeting you and move on to the next person. You may think you need courage or social skills first, but in reality just doing it anyway will give you the courage you felt you lacked, and the social skills will follow. I have a tendency to pretend I'm someone more confident. I'll walk up to strangers and compliment something about them. Oh my god, your shoes are so cute. Where did you get them? People love compliments that are sincere and love talking about themselves. It gets the ball rolling. Pray to God they have animals. Pay too much attention to the animal. Other introverts and awkward people will gravitate towards the animal. Congratulations, now you have made a new friend and you can talk about how you hate parties and love cats or dogs. I take pride in my awkwardness. Find a generic topic and try to strike up a conversation about it. Stay away from politics or religion and talk about a popular TV show, book, movie, video game or local going on in your area. Will it be the greatest conversation ever? No. However, it will be a easy and inoffensive way to introduce yourself to new people. Trust me, I've gone to parties where I try to be super interesting and show off, and it's backfired on me. Most people want to walk away thinking that seemed like a nice enough person. Don't overthink it. Just be pleasant. Remember, this isn't a date. You're not trying to find a soulmate or sell yourself as a possible companion. This isn't a plan to make yourself attractive. You just want to show you can be good company. Arrive right when the party is supposed to start and ask the host what you can help out with. I've never been to a party where there isn't something that the host needs help with, especially when the party is first starting. For instance, if the host is providing drinks, offer to mix them for guests. That way you have an easy way to start conversation with people. What can I get you to drink? And you can find out who likes what you like. I help the host by cleaning up correctly ignored cups, refilling snacks if possible. It helped me to come up with a few openers, some of which are mentioned above. I don't know anyone here but so and so. What about you? How do you know them? We met. Remember to pause and listen to their answer. How's the buffalo dip, wine, cocktail you're having? Whatever they say, look for something you can agree with, or if you don't at all, say how I never thought about it that way, or I don't know much about that. Do you know how it's made? If you do know something about it, or have a strong opinion, there's nothing wrong with sharing it, but sometimes that can be received as a rejection by the person you are speaking with. Situations like this are so much easier for smokers. Probably the only real good that comes from smoking is that it's a great social crutch and useful for meeting people. If you vape, smoke cigarettes or cigars, then use it to your advantage. If you are an occasional smoker, make this one of the occasions. If you don't smoke, I don't know. This is how I get by in these situations. Not the healthiest way to strike up a conversation, but it works every time. Find the quiet space that inevitably forms in a hallway or spare room and chat with the people hiding out there. It always works for me. Almost everyone gets tired by big parties eventually, and they tend to congregate in secondary spaces, and many of them might not want to be in the thick of it, but could still be game for a quieter, calmer conversation. Easy conversation starters. So how's your evening going? How do you know the host? If you're feeling particularly audacious, you can introduce yourself and ask them for the same. I've found that, although this kind of thing's still tiring, it works, and people might be relieved to find someone else who's a little lost. I like asking questions to folks. For example, one time in the kitchen at a party, I asked the handful of folks gathered around the snacks if they've ever seen a UFO, and it got an interesting conversation going. It made me realize that within the bounds of politeness, you can ask people almost anything. Another question I love asking people is, where is the Midwest? This has only happened to me once, because I try my best to avoid parties and typically stick to groups of 5 to 10 hanging out, drinking and playing games. During that one time, I stood around the kitchen drinking, listening for a keyword that would let me join a conversation, and the one that stood out was Periphery, a metal band that I didn't expect anyone there to know. I inserted myself into the conversation with a casual "Did someone say Periphery?" and it let me join the conversation without being overly interrupting. I stuck with them for the rest of the night, and one of them bought me a lap dance when we migrated to the strip club. This is a great way to talk to people. Do the un-or-of-us card trick. For example, if someone asks you how you're doing, answer them, then say the same thing to them. The other person will then need to say the next question. Then they may ask, like, how do you know the host? Answer them, then ask them the same question. The good thing with this is that they are probably asking the questions they think is good. So if you ask them that question, they will think you're asking good questions, making them like you more. I'm literally going to a wedding where I only know the bride and groom. My plan: get a drink and go up to the host for me, bride and groom, while they're in a large group talking and socializing, and do the whole handshake, hug thing. This immediately starts the "oh, how do you know insert name?" Boom, you're in and start talking. Make a joke, lame icebreaker, and go from group to group that has one or two of the original group and they can vouch for you. In reality, I'm gonna be that drinking guy that doesn't give a ref about other people, except the ones I know, and go from there. Be you. A trick I do is to completely skip the small talk and just start talking, as if you're already 30 minutes into a conversation. I'll start with a simple anecdote. For instance, maybe approach someone and so, my Uber driver was playing really hardcore rap on the way over here. I was about to ask him to maybe turn it down a bit, but then I realized I kinda liked it and I figured, let him do his thing. That way, there's a lot of different ways your new friend can relate to that, and you've got a conversation started. Find the drinks. Get brave. No, but really, just make an excuse to talk to someone. For example, I, referring to myself, and what I literally would do in this situation, would look for someone who had a beer in their hand, or whoever had the liquor. I would walk up and point to their drink and say, I need one of those. I'm feeling like that one lone awkward boy in the back corner at a middle school dance here. Where do ya find that? Haha, works though. A good host will set up games like cornhole or beer pong or something, so that people can break ice that way. Otherwise, walking up to a group that's talking and standing awkwardly until you can either jump into the conversation or walk away and try with another group. Eventually you might luck out and walk into one that introduces themselves to you and lets you join them. Walk in and start shouting about how cool you are. I'm the sexiest bitch here. Y'all bitches ain't got nothing on me. Twirl around, look back and smack your ass. And if you're a lady, just go around trying to find a conversation you can join in or be helpful with the drinks.